Many women want to find a good man. They believe they must be young, flawless, and endlessly attractive. They chase perfect skin, perfect weight, perfect smiles. They are convinced that love belongs only to the beautiful. They are wrong. Welcome to Rainy Night Story. I'm Luna. Before we begin, put on your headphones for the best experience. Get cozy and let the rain wash away the world. Tonight, I have a story just for you. My name is Anna. I am 39 years old, and I learned this lesson in the most painful way possible. When I was young, I was considered beautiful. I had long, shining hair that fell down my back. My body was slim without effort. My face was soft and bright. When I entered a room, men noticed me. Their eyes followed me. Their compliments felt like proof that I mattered. At 22, I married the most handsome man I knew. His name was Victor. He was tall, confident, strong. Women admired him. Men respected him. People looked at us and smiled. "You are a perfect couple," they said. I believed them. In the beginning, everything felt like a dream. He held my hand in public. He whispered that I was lucky to have him. I felt chosen, special, safe. But slowly, something changed. After marriage, Victor began to notice flaws. Not real flaws, invented ones. "Anna, this soup tastes strange," he'd say, scrutinizing my cooking. "Anna, why don't you dress more elegantly? Anna, your hair doesn't look as shiny as before." At first, I laughed it off. I tried harder. I watched cooking videos and bought better ingredients. I spent hours choosing clothes and practicing new hairstyles. Then came the sentence that lived in my head for years. "Anna, you're getting fat." I wasn't fat, but once he said it, I saw it everywhere. In the mirror, in photographs, in my imagination. I went on a diet. I counted calories and skipped meals. I felt hungry all the time, but I felt proud when the number on the scale dropped. Still, it wasn't enough. He compared me to women on television, to models in magazines, to strangers walking down the street. "You used to try harder," he would say, coldly demanding more from me. I spent all my savings on beauty treatments, expensive dresses, high-end makeup. I believed that if I could become perfect again, he would return to the loving man I married. At 30, I became pregnant. I remember the moment I saw the positive test. My hands were shaking. I thought, finally, a baby will bring us closer. A child will fix everything. Pregnancy changed my body. My waist disappeared. Stretch marks appeared. My face became rounder. I felt tired all the time. But I was happy. Victor was not. He stopped touching me and stopped looking at me the same way. One evening, he turned to me with no warmth left. "You're not attractive anymore," he said one night without emotion. His words felt colder than winter. I cried on the bathroom floor, water streaming down my face. After my daughter was born, I loved her instantly. Her tiny fingers wrapped around mine. Her breathing at night was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. I named her Masha. I promised myself I would become beautiful again. For Victor, for my family. While other mothers rested, I exercised. While my baby slept, I did sit-ups on the living room floor. I was exhausted, but I kept going. I thought love had to be earned. One afternoon, I came home earlier than usual. I found Victor in our bedroom with another woman, a young beauty who looked like I once did. Smooth skin, a bright smile, effortless beauty. "Why?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Why are you doing this to our family? Victor didn't shout. He didn't look ashamed. He just met my eyes with cold indifference. "You're boring, Anna," he said calmly. "You were just a pretty face, and now you're not even pretty." That was the end. He left without looking back. I was alone with a baby and a heart that felt empty. The house became quiet in a different way. No criticism, no cold voice, but also no partner and no support. Depression came slowly, like fog. Every morning I looked in the mirror and saw failure. I saw a woman who wasn't enough. I saw someone replaced. My daughter was the only reason I kept moving. When she smiled, I forced myself to stand up. When she cried, I found strength I didn't know I had. Years passed. I stopped buying expensive clothes. I stopped trying to impress anyone. My hair was tied back most days. Makeup stayed untouched in a drawer. I didn't have time for beauty, barely time to breathe. I worked, I cooked, I cleaned, I survived. One night, when Masha was 5 years old, she developed a high fever. Her small body felt too hot in my arms. Her breathing worried me. I didn't think about my appearance. I grabbed the first clothes I found, old sweatpants and a loose sweater. My hair was messy. My face was pale and tired. I rushed to the hospital in the middle of the night. The waiting room lights were too bright. I felt small sitting there, holding my daughter tightly. A doctor called us in. He looked about 40, not strikingly handsome, not impressive in the way Victor had been, just ordinary. But his eyes were kind. He examined Masha carefully. He listened patiently. He asked gentle questions. After a few minutes, he smiled slightly. "She will be okay," he said. "It's just a bad flu." I felt my knees weaken with relief. "Thank God," I whispered. Tears came before I could stop them. I was embarrassed by how emotional I was. I turned away, trying to hide my face. The doctor handed me tissues. "You're a good mother," he said quietly. I looked at him, surprised. "I can see it," he continued. "You came here in the middle of the night. You're exhausted, but all you care about is your daughter. That's real love." No one had spoken to me like that in years. Not about my body, not about my face, but about my heart. "Thank you, doctor," I said. "Call me Andre," he replied gently. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen, not as a pretty face, not as a failure, as a mother, as a woman, as Anna. After that night at the hospital, something small but important changed inside me. It wasn't love. It wasn't hope. Just a quiet warmth. The feeling that someone had looked at me and seen more than my tired face. A week later, I returned for a follow-up. Masha was better and laughing again, clutching her toy in her hands. Andre greeted us with the same calm smile. Masha liked him immediately. She talked about her drawings and dinosaurs. He listened as if her stories were the most important things in the world. Before we left, he hesitated for a moment and then asked gently, "Anna, would you like to have coffee sometime?" "Not here, just coffee." My heart jumped. Coffee? Such a simple word, but it felt dangerous. Excitement and fear collided in my chest. "I don't think that's a good idea," I answered quietly. "Look at me. I'm not young. I'm not beautiful. You can find better." The words came automatically. They had lived inside me for years. Andre didn't laugh or look uncomfortable. He just looked at me seriously. "Anna," he asked, "do you know what I see? I see a strong woman. I see a loving mother. I see someone who survived something difficult and didn't break." His words felt like permission, but I shook my head. "Real is not enough," I said bitterly. "Men want beautiful." He shook his head slowly. Some men want beautiful, yes, but beautiful fades. Everyone gets wrinkles. Everyone changes. A good heart doesn't disappear. I said nothing. His words followed me home that day. For days, I thought about that coffee invitation. I told myself it was ridiculous, that I would embarrass myself, that he'd regret asking. But something inside me finally whispered, maybe I deserve this. I told him yes. Saturday afternoon, I stood in front of the mirror longer than I wanted to admit. Old habits returned. I searched for my best dress and put on makeup carefully, trying to hide the signs of time. I styled my hair the way Victor once liked. When I arrived at the coffee shop, Andre was already there. He stood up when he saw me, but instead of admiration, I noticed concern in his eyes. "What's wrong?" I asked immediately. He gave me a gentle smile. "You're wearing a costume," he said softly. I froze. A costume? I looked down. A pretty dress, styled hair, makeup too perfect. My cheeks burned. "My husband said I was boring," I admitted quietly. "Then your husband was blind," Andre replied calmly. "He saw your surface. He never looked deeper." We talked for hours, not about fashion or appearance, but about life. Andre told me about his past. His first wife had been very beautiful. People admired her everywhere they went, but she loved parties and attention and expensive things. "I was lonely," he confessed. "When I was sad, she told me to smile. When I was worried, she told me to stop thinking too much. I felt invisible." His voice held no anger, only quiet truth. "I don't want perfect," he said. "I want someone honest. Someone who can say, 'I'm tired,' without pretending. Someone brave enough to be imperfect." His words felt like permission to just be Anna. Over the next months, we met regularly. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes for walks in the park with Masha. Andre never rushed me or pressured me, but fear lived inside me. Every time he smiled at me, I waited for disappointment. Every kind word, I braced for it to disappear. One evening, while watching Masha play on a park bench, he said quietly, "You still think I will leave?" I didn't deny it. "You don't believe you deserve love," he added gently. The sentence hurt because it was true. For 15 years, I believed love depended on performance, on appearance, on perfection. If I failed, love would be taken away. Andre was patient. When I went without makeup, he didn't care. When I laughed too loudly, he laughed with me. When I admitted I was scared, he didn't step back. Slowly, something fragile inside me began to heal. Masha grew attached to him too. She trusted him. One night, after he left, she looked at me seriously. "Mama," she asked, "do you love Andre?" The question felt heavy and beautiful at the same time. "Yes," I whispered. Saying it aloud made it real. Months passed, nearly a year. I was still cautious, still waiting for it all to fall apart. One evening, Andre looked at me and said, "I am waiting." "For what?" I asked. "For you to believe that I am not going anywhere." Silence filled the room. He continued softly. "You still think this is temporary. You think I'll wake up one day and see flaws." "I have many flaws," I said, swallowing. He smiled softly. "So do I." 6 more months passed before something inside me fully shifted. There was no big event or announcement, just a quiet realization one morning while drinking tea in my kitchen. I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't trying to impress him. I wasn't pretending. I was simply being Anna. And he was still there. The day Andre proposed was not dramatic. There were no candles, no expensive restaurant, no music. It was an ordinary Tuesday evening. Masha was asleep in her room. The apartment was quiet, except for the soft sound of the television, which we weren't even watching. I sat on my old couch, the same couch where I once cried after Victor left. Life has strange symmetry. Andre turned off the television and looked at me in a way that made my heart slow down. "Anna," he said softly. There was no nervousness in his voice, just calm certainty. "Yes?" I asked. He moved closer. "Marry me." No speech, no grand gesture, just 2 words filled with truth. For a second, a whisper of fear crept in. What if this disappears too? But something stronger answered me. This feels different. This feels safe. "Yes," I said, and for the first time in my adult life, I said it without fear. The wedding was simple. Close friends, a few relatives, no luxury, no perfection. I wore a modest white dress. I did not try to look 22 again. I did not try to hide every wrinkle. My hair showed a few gray strands. My smile was real. My mother hugged me before the ceremony and whispered something that once would have destroyed me. "Anna, you look happy, but Andre is just ordinary, not handsome like Victor." Years ago, that comparison would have reopened every wound, but I was not the same woman anymore. "Victor only saw my face," I answered calmly. "When my face changed, he left. Andre sees my heart. Hearts don't change." My mother didn't reply. She just looked at me differently. When Andre placed the ring on my finger, he didn't stare at my appearance. He looked into my eyes as if he was choosing me. Not my body, not my youth, but me. Marriage with Andre felt different from the very beginning. There were no comments about my weight, no criticism about my clothes, no cold silence as punishment. When I was tired, he said, "Rest." When I felt insecure, he listened. When I laughed too loudly, he laughed with me. Years passed quietly. Now I am 42. My hair has more gray. My skin has more lines. My body carries the story of pregnancy, stress, and healing. One night, lying in bed beside him, I asked the question that once controlled my life. "Do you wish I was prettier?" The room was dark. I expected hesitation. Instead, he answered immediately. "No." I turned toward him. "Pretty women are everywhere," he continued. "They don't make me feel anything. But you make me feel happy. You make me feel safe. You make me feel loved. That is better than pretty." I realized something powerful in that moment. Beauty attracts attention, but peace keeps a man. For years, I believed that men wanted perfection. Flawless skin, perfect bodies, endless charm. But what Andre wanted was calm honesty and emotional safety. He wanted someone real. I had wasted 15 years trying to be perfect. I starved myself. I spent money I didn't have. I changed myself to meet someone else's expectations. And I lost everything. Then life forced me to stop trying. I became tired. I became honest. I became real. And that was when I found everything. If you are reading this and you feel afraid that you are not enough, I understand. If you look in the mirror and see flaws first, I understand. If you believe that your youth is your only value, I understand. But listen carefully. You are enough right now. Your gray hair is not a mistake. It is experience. Your wrinkles are not damage. They are evidence of laughter and survival. Your body is not imperfect. It is proof that you have lived. The wrong man will leave when beauty fades. Let him go. He was never yours. The right man will stay when life becomes difficult. He will stay when you are tired. He will stay when you are afraid. He will stay when you are completely yourself. And one day, he will look at you and say, finally, someone real. I am Anna. I am not perfect. I am not young, but I am loved. Not because of my face, not because of my body, but because of who I am. And that kind of love, the kind that sees your heart and chooses it, is everything. And so, our story comes to an end for tonight. I hope it brought you peace and a little bit of magic. If you enjoyed this journey, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, sleep well and sweet dreams.